Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Zach is Cinema. Yes, welcome home. We're in a new home today, which is exciting. Zach is Cinema is just for all those people out there that just don't think they've ever been as happy as they were when MoviePass was a thing. Does anybody else remember that? That was like a fever dream in real life. Oh my god! Like thinking back to one of my glorious summers when MoviePass was a thing, and every time I'd use it, I felt like I was kind of committing a crime a little bit, right? Because it was just so cheap that it almost felt illegal, but it was awesome. If you remember MoviePass, you have stumbled across the right place, so welcome here. Yes, today we're going to be doing another movie review, so let's just hop right into it. Today we're going to be reviewing and discussing the new movie called Clown in a Cornfield, which came out in 2025. So for director, we got Eli Craig. Writers, we got Eli Craig and Carter Blanchard. Starring in this movie, we got Katie Douglas, Aaron Abrams, Carson McCormick, Kevin Duran, and Will Sasso. In this movie, the story follows Quinn and her father as they relocate to a struggling town of Kettle Springs, only to find themselves terrorized by a chainsaw-wielding killer clown named Friendo. So as we hop into the review for Clown in a Cornfield, I was really looking forward to this movie just because Zach is Cinema here, we love slasher movies. I really enjoy killer clown movies. I love horror. I have a soft spot for like those self-aware, over-the-top R-rated horror movies, and I know this is based off a book. I've never read it, but I've heard good things about the book. I love watching horror no matter the season, and I kept hearing really good things about this movie, some early buzz about it. I know it's being released by Shudder, I believe, but I was pretty surprised going into this with just the complete lack of marketing. Like, I feel like the only reason I really heard about this movie is because I follow movies, I read up on this stuff, so I knew about it coming out, but I go to the movies at least once a week, every single week, so I never even saw a trailer for this movie, not even once. I heard about it coming out, so I'm like, yeah, I gotta go see this, but I'm surprised. There was barely anybody in my theater, which is always just kind of depressing here, but I was interested in checking it out, but just very, very curious as to why there was such a lack of marketing really for this movie. I mean, unless I'm the only one. I don't know. I felt like I didn't really see anything promoting this, but yeah, that's kind of my expectations going in here. So let's start with the review section, starting with the positives or just the things that I really enjoyed about this movie. First, we will get into my issues with the film, but overall, I would say this was a really fun time at the movies. It was one of those fun horror movies with some good kills, an interesting story, especially the setup part to it, and somewhat unique of a slasher killer. And it's also one of those movies I never felt the runtime with, which is always such a big positive you can give any movie. I feel like when you could just watch it and when you get to the end, you're like, oh shit, it's already over. That was pretty good. The best way I could describe this movie is it's like the film version of a haunted hayride. Not necessarily like a haunted house type movie, like people say that about the Conjuring movies. It's like a haunted house if it was a movie. I think this feels more of that haunted hayride vibe to it. Just that warm, cozy feeling you get around the fall time, around Halloween, watching scary movies. It kind of felt like that, like a movie with some intense, scary parts, but never loses that fun, over-the-top, warm and comfortable feeling I guess the movie is going for, if that makes sense. I also really enjoyed the town aspect to this movie. I've said it before, especially in, I think, my Bloody Valentine movie reviews, but anytime a horror movie is a part of a small local town, I always appreciate when they almost make the town and the town's lore a character in the movie, and you definitely get this with the movie and with the town, and also with Friendo the clown here. There's a lot of history, the town's lore plays into the story and into the reveals later on. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and I think it handles it pretty well here. Speaking of Friendo the Clown, I thought he was pretty cool. Definitely not something that would be a horror icon, at least to me, but it really felt like one of those clowns you would see at just some small town local hayride. But in this case, he's just going rogue and killing people, going off script. So it almost felt like a little bit more creepier, if that makes sense, just because the whole movie reminded me of this hayride type feel to it. And you really just have one of the employees pretty much just going rogue on all the teenagers in there. So I did enjoy the killer. I think killer clowns are scary, and I enjoyed how he looked in this movie. Speaking of Friendo the Clown here, we got all the kills here are pretty great, and I believe they're all done practical. I didn't notice any iffy CGI, so there's some fun scenes, especially in a corn maze, clown in a cornfield. You get a couple scenes out in a cornfield, and it's just one of my, worst fears. The movie's not terribly scary. It's never very serious, but anytime I go to a hayride or a haunted house, the hayride part I find a lot more fun, which is what reminded me of this movie. But anytime you got the walking part, like if they let you go into a hayride or a corn maze, I'm always so iffy and I do not like it because it takes the fun out of the hayride, and when it puts you in that environment, it just feels way too real. And when I'm walking there, I just get, I can't handle it, and it takes all the fun out of it. But there's a couple cool scenes in this cornfield here where characters are running, sprinting for their lives, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's this one kill that I literally felt in my gut that kind of came out of nowhere. It's like a bit of a jump scare there, and I didn't think they would do something like that, but they end up doing something like that, and it's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun kills like that, and it just, again, reminded me of a haunted hayride with a couple employees just going rogue or something. That's the vibe I got from here. So now let's jump into my mix section. I'll preface this saying it is more mixed positive, but unfortunately I had a lot of mixed parts in this movie. I'm not going to get into spoilers here, so with that in mind, I do like the character of Cole in here and what they do with him. I felt like there could have been a bit more to that. Again, not going to hint at anything or get into spoilers. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about here, but I thought it was interesting when they introduced this aspect to Cole. They kind of introduce it and then that's it. For his development, for some of the friends' developments, I thought that was a bit of a missed opportunity here, but I like what they were going for. Now, obviously, with every slasher, there's always a reveal, and when this movie starts, it feels very cliche, but I was kind of hearing about that going in. It starts cliche, but just get to the halfway point and you see what the movie's doing, and it gets much better, which I do agree here, because it starts very cliche, your typical slasher movie you've seen before, but around 60 to 70% of the way through, there's this bit of a twist and slight reveal that comes into play, and when I first saw this twist, I was really excited because it was something so over the top, crazy, and fun, and introduced a whole new element to the movie. However, at the same time, this new element, once it gets added, I instantly knew what the final reveal and the things going on would end up being. As soon as it happened, the movie just lost a lot of its intrigue and tension, at least to me. That's why it's in my mixed section, because I like what they do, I like the direction, but as soon as they did it, I'm like, oh, I bet this is what's going on, and it was exactly what's going on. So it loses something for me while also adding something for me, if that makes sense. And in this movie, I think the third act is a lot of fun, and the twists and reveals are interesting, and I like the themes and messages and commentary that they are going for. However, it is so just hand-fisted to you. It's like the movie kind of pauses and during the reveals repeats all the themes and messages that I thought were pretty clearly going on and already kind of explained. I mean, you got a clown in a cornfield, so again, no spoilers, but there's a reason it's a clown. Like I already knew what you were kind of pointing at and poking fun at, and it just always frustrates me when a movie sits me down to tell me what's going on and takes up a lot of that third act kind of fun that this movie had going for. So like that's why it's mixed again, because I like it. I like the themes and messages that it's going for. I just hate how it's delivered to me, if that makes sense. Now let's jump into the negative section, or just the things that I didn't enjoy too much about this movie. Is unfortunately the characters in the friend group are definitely a negative to me. The main girl, Quinn, is fine, but I just found that she was playing some sort of Jenna Ortega type character. However, I think she does give a little bit more emotion to her than some of those traditional roles, but the rest of the friend group is just kind of full of dicks, and all the other characters associated with this main group of friends, I'm just kind of waiting for them to die, because they're friends with all the assholes in the movie, including this new main girl here. So just nothing to write home about. And like I said, with Cole, I think there was something better they could have done, or further developed or explored that, but it's just kind of hinted at, and I don't know, I felt like they could have done a little bit more there. They also have this very dumb side plot of a group of characters, like our main group of friends here. They have this YouTube channel filming fake clown killings that just felt so dumb. So you get the clown in the cornfield, which is the real killer here, but then these friends, like, they know the town history lore, and they're like, oh, like, let's prank people with our fake gore clown killings, and we pull pranks on our friends and people in the town, and the town hates them because they do this. It's just like, I get what they're doing, commenting on younger people, the younger generation, but it felt so kind of out of touch a little bit. Maybe if this came back out in like 2015, 2016, when prank channels were a bigger thing, I think it would make sense. But now it just kind of seems like, I don't know, a couple like boomers sitting around the board table being like, hey, what are kids into these days? And another boomer's like, oh, my grandson really likes YouTube and pranks. What if we did that? Like, I don't know if it's a part of the book or anything, but I didn't like that side plot. And then while it was happening, it also made some of those characters even more unlikable, if that makes sense. Also, a lot of cringe writing in here, and I get it's supposed to be over the top and self-aware. Just unfortunately, a lot of the jokes fell flat to me, and the friend group is playing your very stereotypical versions of teenagers. And I feel like with movies like this, they try to use the excuse, well, it's self-aware, it's over the top, so everyone's a stereotype. But I'll get into it here too. I feel like we've been seeing a lot of that, and it just kind of gets tiring and feels like it's not adding anything new here. Continuing with my negatives here, I was talking with my brother, our boy Nick does it, after this movie very briefly here, and we both felt like some of these recent slasher movies almost just feel like they're copying that Scream formula. Movies like Thanksgiving, Heart Eyes, Hell of a Summer, and now this one just keep feeling like a mix of when we got Halloween 2018 and that resurgence of newer age slashers, and then I think like the year after or 2 years after, we got Scream 5. Those like kind of kicked this new wave off here. All these movies afterwards, they're serious, but then kind of interject themselves with self-aware comedy and satire, and then I feel like they do that to play off some of the goofy stuff or the third act stuff, but then also try to be a serious movie at the same time, and they just kind of all follow this new age slasher formula that feels very reminiscent to movies like the Halloween 2018 or like any of the Scream movies, especially like the first and second one, with how they do the reveals at the end here. I don't know. I feel like I have to kind of work out my thoughts a little bit on that point. Just recently, these types of slasher movies, about halfway through, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I've kind of seen this before, and I felt so similar to this movie with how I did with Heart Eyes. Like, it's good, it's enjoyable, I had a decent time watching it, but I've seen this before. And in movies like Scream, when it's doing the commentary and satire stuff, the writing is just so much more better and not so much just in your face. When you get movies like this going for the same thing, and when they try to do that, it falls flat to me a little bit here. I hope that point kind of made sense, and I'm not sure if I'm the only one that feels like this, like just having a fun time and really enjoying all these new slashers, but just they kind of feel the same. They're almost like getting into their own Marvel formula at this point, and just just so reminiscent to Scream, pretty much. Overall, I would say this is a very fun movie that, despite my negatives, I did have a good time with it. And if you like slashers and that self-aware tone with these movies, you'll have a very good time with it. However, to me, the movie was good and enjoyable, just ultimately forgettable, and borrows a lot of elements I've seen before, which left me just feeling like it's gonna be kind of forgettable. Like already, I'm just like, yeah, it was good, but I don't remember all that much about it. For my rating for this movie, is I have it as this is a movie I'd like to rewatch, maybe on streaming. Maybe I'd even look to pick up a physical copy of it at a very, very discounted price, like when the Blu-ray's like under $10 or something. Because even though I had problems with it, I never hated my experience watching it, if that makes sense here. You guys have my thoughts here on the new movie Clown in a Cornfield. Let me know down below. Did you see this movie? What did you think about it? What are your thoughts and opinions on my point of slasher movies kind of getting into this rut, feeling very similar to just what Scream did here? So again, I'd like to further develop how I feel about that. Hope I explained it okay, but let me know down below. Let me know what you think about this movie. I'm curious. It seems like it's getting really good reviews, and I don't know, I'm a bit surprised, but it is enjoyable. So I don't know if I'm on an island with it, me feeling so mixed about it, but let me know down below what you thought about Clown in a Cornfield. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate anybody watching my videos, so thanks again. And yeah, look forward to more ZakIsCinema coming very soon.